we need to talk about something serious. Today I've experienced a milestone in my personal growth and my healing journey, and I want to talk about it because it was an important one, and I think it's important not only for me. I was in a park when I've heard a father screaming at a child and then hitting him, a child of maybe 3 years old. The child started to cry. I immediately stood up because I'm triggered by situations like this. Like I feel like I cannot breathe. I feel panic attacks coming. It used to be a panic attack. Right now I perceive that it's coming and I can help myself. I can regulate myself. But what is more important is that for years I was working on not only to not react with fear and with instinctive reactions, with being nervous, being extremely emotional about it. I was working very hard to learn to remain calm, to remain rational, to not be led by fear and fear mechanisms. I want to be able to articulate boundaries, and I want to be able to protect those whose voice is not heard, whose rights are not respected, and whose safety is being taken away with such simple act as just hitting a child to calm it down or to show him authority or show it an authority. So as I was on my feet already and controlling my breath and talking to myself calmly to remain cool, remain rational, and still go there and say that that's not alright, especially that we live in a country where such act as punishing child physically, it's violence, and it's against human rights, and it's against child rights, and it's illegal, it's a crime. So as I was standing, the father turned to the other child, which was a girl of more or less 11, 12 years, I guess. And he physically scared her. He did this movement of like, I'm gonna punch you in a moment. And that was my moment when I remained calm enough, but moved enough that this was not a singular act. This was not something that is irrational reaction in the very stressful situation. So I went there and I started to say that that's not right, that's illegal in this place, and that's not allowed. You are not allowed to physically threat your children, and you are not allowed to physically threat any children. You're not allowed to hit them. What happened was that people that I talked to, the couple with children, they didn't understand me, and I needed to ask which language would they understand. So I tried to communicate in Spanish, then I asked in English, and they were still saying, they were just showing me through their body language that they don't understand me, that they know what I'm speaking about, and they know what this interaction is about, but they don't understand me, and therefore there is nothing to say like, go away because we don't understand you. So they spoke French. I barely speak French. I lived in France for 2 years, but I barely speak French. And that's the 5th language that I tried, and they reacted. And I tried to explain myself, the boundaries, the legal case in French. It worked quite fine. In such a stressful situation, I was quite happy about the ability that I can pass the communicate, and I am understood in this moment. The father took the younger child and he went away. He didn't want to talk to me, he ignored me, he went away. The mother was, of course, shocked, humiliated, and embarrassed. But I talked to her for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I was very proud because my partner, which doesn't have such personal story connected to the violence and to the oppression and to the oppressive upbringing, but he knows me and he is with me for the 12 years of this journey of healing that fear of your own parents and of your own environment. And he also stood up and he actually did something really wonderful, and I am very grateful for him to grow with me in this. Because what I did, it was to calm my emotions enough to be able to communicate something. But what he did was much more important at that moment, because he stood extremely calmly in front of the man. He stopped him. And he also asked which language would be the right one to communicate. And with the very calm attitude and approach, he said that this is illegal, that we are in a place where no one will allow that to happen. There was another woman that came running and she was also screaming and she was really, really mad. But Juan calmed down all the situation and he made it that the man heard him. He gave few examples and he said few things that reached the rational mind. And even though this was extremely uncomfortable situation for everyone, and I'm not saying that those parents are horrible parents and that they are bad people, those are bad people, those are not bad people, but they were raised in an oppressive way and they are passing this oppression on their children. And that's not okay. It's too late at this time of humanity, of our knowledge, of our conscience, of our ability to perceive what kind of consequences such actions have, to still avoid the conversation about it. It's enough. It's 2025. It's enough. There is no more space for oppressive upbringing and education. There is no more place and there is no more silence within observing the oppression happening to anyone. And I am very proud of me and of my partner that we are this kind of people that overcome our own fears to be able to stand up and set boundaries and say that the world is watching and it will not be silenced. It will not be dismissed. It will not be ignored anymore. We will follow and we will remind you that it's too late in the process of evolution of humanity to solve problems and to pass our own anger on others. It doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter what form of aggression you are choosing and oppression. It can be psychological, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual. It's enough. And I feel very moved about this situation. Because if I, a person who feared, who was paralyzed every single time I saw an act of oppression, an act of violence, I would or have a panic attack, or I would scream, or I would cry like crazy, or I would be not able to move, or I would shake uncontrollably. And I overcome that so that I can stand for my values. And I think that everyone can. And especially for the fact that I am the one that comes out from a raging environment, and I was raging. I had anger problems. I had problems with expressing myself. But years of training, of therapy, of learning, of understanding myself place me right now in a different mind space, mindset, approach, attitude towards everything. And I think that everyone, every single person could work it through. And I truly trust in it. I truly believe in it. I am sure that it can happen. I understand neuroscience behind it. I understand the biology behind it. I understand the psychology behind it, philosophy of it. I know that oppression and violence are not the answers. So that's the update for today. And I'm really proud that I express it and that I am absolutely sure that this man, when he will overcome, and I hope he will overcome shame and humiliation that he experienced, and I'm really sorry that it happens this way. But triggers is painful, and it feels like a tower moment. It feels that everything is collapsing. It feels that everyone is against you. It feels that you are alone in the world. I really hope he will choose to overcome it this way, that he will decide, I will never do that again. I understand that times are different and I need to learn new ways to show my authority, to get clarity, to get respect from my surrounding. Violence and aggression and authoritarian, oppressive authority, they don't work anymore, and they will not. So I will only add one thing: how wonderfully effective is oppressive upbringing and oppressive, violent education. Because you can see a 34-year-old woman who for the last 15 years is learning, studying, hitting tower moments, hitting the breaking points of my own inability to communicate my needs, my boundaries. I experienced so much abuse and oppression in my life because I didn't recognize it, because I thought that that's what love looks like, and that's what actually mentoring looks like. I had really badly calibrated instincts, behaviors, what I was scared of and what I wasn't scared of. And I needed to rewire all of these things, my body, my mind. And it took many, many years. And it caused that I am not willing to maintain relationships that present any sign of violence, oppression, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual oppression. There is nothing in my life that represents that, and there is no space even like this to have it in my life. And I know how it looks and I know how it feels, and I will never go back to that. Therefore, it's your choice. Do you want your children to visit you one day? Do you want your children to be part of your life? Do you respect your children so that they will respect you in the future? Because those are the choices that you are taking today, but the consequences you will feel in 10, 15 years, maybe more. And that's my message for today. And that's what I stand for. And that's what I will be talking about. Because I do believe it's the most important topic in our world right now. And this topic, solving this problem, which is oppressive upbringing and education, would solve every other problem in the world. Except, no, maybe even as a long chain of reactions, maybe even climate change. Not to reduce it absolutely, but to minimize the effects of it. I believe that it would have the chain of reaction that would lead to that. So those are my wisdom words for today. And I'm sharing my soul here. I'm sharing something important. And something I believe in, and something I'm fighting for every single day. Thank you for your attention.